Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Meet the Expert with Elliot Callan. Little bit different today. If you're a small business owner, or maybe a mid-sized business owner, and you're in growth mode, and you're challenged with growth efficiency, and how do I do this right? And how do I not go out of business because I've tied up all my capital inventory, or I've got chronic shortfalls because I never have enough of A or B or R or R7, whatever it is. Today we're going to talk to Frank Nardi of Sin7. They specialize in using artificial intelligence to make the inventory and logistics management of companies, small and mid-size, work so well that they become a highly dependent and interdependent partner, and they impact growth in the most efficient way they can. So exciting, niche market. I think you're going to like it. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Elliot Callan, CEO of Prosperity Financial Group, and welcome to another expert opinions and information on Meet the Expert with Elliot Callan. Very interesting today what we're going to do. We're going to talk about AI when it comes to industry. How does that work? We've got an expert on the phone who is a logistical expert, understands how companies work, inventory management, inventory control, and has used AI to redo his entire company. I'd like to welcome Frank Nardi here. Frank is with Sin7, CIN7. He is an expert in sales, marketing. He's the chief revenue officer of the company, and he has used AI to totally reinvent his company. So Frank, can I welcome you?
Yeah, thanks, Elliot. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely here. So first, let me ask you a question. What do you do? What is your job? What does the company do? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So we are Sin7, so it's connected inventory performance. And we provide inventory solutions to product sellers all over the world. We have 8,400 customers right now in 70 plus different countries. And these are product sellers that are entrepreneurial, they're up and comers, they're looking to grow their business. They want to sell in different markets and different channels. And then our solution helps come in and provides that ability for them to do so based on the different modules they need, whether they sell business to business or they want to manage their warehouses. And we help them manage their inventory as they scale their business.
So the reason we're talking with Frank today, besides AI, which is still so much in its infancy today, is because many of our clients own companies or have friends who own companies or family members that own companies. And these type of informational Meet the Expert programs are specifically for really work well for these companies and these entities and these individuals. But it also works well for just understanding general business. So, I come from a world of growth at all costs, just grow, grow, grow. And you kind of come from a world of efficient growth, which is very different. So tell me what you perceive as a difference, and then tell me how AI changes my life and what you've done to change my life as one of your clients.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I think when you think about the growth at all costs mindset, I think a lot of us, particularly in SaaS, are coming from that experience, right? Coming out of COVID, it was really just grow, grow, grow. Software as a service was in that model for quite some time. But over the last year, this idea of profitable, efficient growth has really come into play, and that we all want to scale and we all want to continue to scale, but we want to do it in an efficient manner, right? And we want to do it where we manage the customer lifecycle throughout their entire journey, right? Not just winning revenue and bringing in new customers, but retaining those customers, growing those customers, and having those customers go on a longer journey with you into lifetime value. So what's interesting about Sin7 is we talk a lot about artificial intelligence. We talk about efficiency. We talk about efficiency as you grow. As a sales leader at Sin7, a chief revenue officer, I manage all the revenue in the business. So all the revenue coming in, whether it be new logo, adding new customers to the business, or your traditional sales, marketing into sales model, but also revenue, retention, churn, lifetime value, having those customers grow with us over time, right? So once they're a customer, how do they continue to use Sin7 as they grow? So there's a lot of similarities to both what we do for our customers and what we have to do for ourselves at Sin7, right? We want to make sure that when customers, and the term we like to use is when customers don't just buy Sin7, they buy into Sin7, right? So they buy us, they say, hey, we're great for their business. We need inventory management and performance. They choose Sin7, and then how do they grow, right? Because they're going to scale and have different asks as they go up and hit milestones within their business, and their businesses are going to get more complex, right? So think about it this way: you're a small product seller, and you only have one channel. Maybe you're selling in your marketplace like Shopify or BigCommerce, and you're selling on Amazon, but you're not in any big box stores yet. And then you do $1, $2, $3 million of revenue, and then you start to grow bigger and bigger. You're going to add more channels. So maybe you want to get your products into Whole Foods or Walmart or Target, right? Maybe you're going to have multiple warehouses because you're going to sell in different parts. The more complexity you add to the business, the harder it is to scale, right? Because you're trying to manage this with either spreadsheets or you're managing this through other sort of point solutions, right? So when you really look at it, when you manage your inventory traditionally like that, there are all these little points of failure that can happen, right? So as you get more complex, the business becomes more risky, right? And traditional inventory management, we believe it kills growth, right? And the way that the data backs it up, 22% of businesses will go out of business their first year. That jumps to 45, almost 50% by year 5, right? And then 66 by year 10, right? And while some folks may look at that as just time, we look at that as also complexity, right? Because the size of the business and the way you were selling in your first year is not the way you were selling in year 5. So as you grow and you start add all of these channels, it becomes really a challenge of addressing complexity, because that'll kill most businesses. And when we looked into the data, we did a pretty big assessment of this last year. Inventory inefficiency is a big problem. It's costing our product sellers and our customers billions of dollars. It's a $1.1 trillion a year issue. $163 billion is lost a year through inventory inefficiency, where companies are not managing their inventory properly. And it's one of the top 4 reasons businesses will go out of business. So that those stats I just gave you earlier about when they go out of business and why, it's up there with lack of demand, lack of marketing, lack of capital. But we see it as foundational, right? Like if you can't get your inventory right as you scale, then you're spending extra capital to try and get it right with overstock, understock, stockouts, overselling products in certain regions, right? You then basically become, it straps the other areas, right? Because if you don't have the capital because you're wasting it in inventory, then you don't have it to spend on marketing, right? Then you don't have to spend on creating more demand. And so this is where we see it as a foundational problem as businesses grow.
So we're talking with Frank Nardi of Sin7, a little bit about AI and implementation and logistics, because these are inventory experts. If you want to reach me with questions, I'm at Elliot, ELLIOT, at prosperityfinancialgroup.com, or 925-314-8503, or the website with 60 plus episodes of Meet the Expert at at prosperityfinancialgroup.com. So don't be afraid to reach out before or after, and we'll get you more of these episodes. They're really interesting. This one's kind of fascinating, but it's a niche out there. So we understand that it's not as broad as let's talk about what's going on in the economy, which affects everybody out there. So I do want to talk about, still go back to saving money. I wrote a book, it's over my left shoulder, called Driven. And it talks about the 3 phases of entrepreneurship. And in phase 1, and by the way, it's on Amazon, shameless plug, Driven by Elliot Callan. Go ahead and order, it's really inexpensive.
We'll Google it right now.
And all the proceeds go to charity, which is nice. I don't make 1 penny on that book.
Oh, it's great.
Anyway, so there are 3 phases of entrepreneurship, as I talk about in the book. Phase 1 is a startup phase, the entrepreneurial phase. That could come when somebody is sick and tired of their boss, or they've aged out, or they've just not very employable, or they're young and full of energy. I could do this on my own because I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Whatever reason, they face all these challenges in startup, which is really capital, hiring people to their strengths, understanding that they can't be the best to everybody at what they do, so you have to hire away your strengths, and things like that. But at some point, they're going to get some traction, or they're out of business, like we talked about. And they're going to get traction. And that little business is going to turn into a real business that's going to generate ongoing cash flow. Whether it has 500 employees or 50, it doesn't matter. It's generating cash flow. And that's when you've got a sizable logistical challenge to how do I keep my business up? Because in phase 3, I'm now thinking about selling my company and giving it away or giving it to my children. But now, for you, Frank, your market is really phase 2. I've got a business that's got some sustainability. In your case, there's inventory, parts, and equipment that's thousands of parts that could go into what I'm making. And I'm going to need your help for this. Am I saying this properly, Frank?
Yeah, so we have manufacturing modules as well that helps folks manage all those parts and how they put their products together as well. Yeah, and I think that's right. And part of what I would say there is, what we look at is we look at two different ideal customer profiles. We call ICPs. One is that first time buyer. To your point, they're just getting their product market fit. They're saying, "Hey, I've got this product. It's getting traction. My spreadsheets are going to keep up." Maybe they have a person that has the subject matter expertise, and that becomes a single point of failure because if that person ever leaves or retires or goes away, like how do I manage my business, right? And so we provide them with a more customizable, scalable solution as they move into the next phase. We do also have, and it's not insignificant, a good half of our customers come from what we call second and third time buyers. Folks who have tried point solutions, maybe folks who have tried big ERPs, because once you start getting to that scale up model, you think maybe I got to go to a huge ERP, and those can be super expensive and super complex and take long time to get set up and maintain. They don't offer the same flexibility as a solution like a Sin7. And so we help them, we call them the second time buyers. So they can lift and shift off of those other point solutions or big ERPs and come over to Sin7 and get more flexibility and get more scalability out of their inventory solution.
So the key there, I think I want to focus in on efficient growth, because that's really the key. Is all of us want to grow. Nobody goes into business for the purpose of not growing. That's not real. Growing efficiently and growing like weeds aren't the same thing. And so how do you use artificial intelligence specifically to help me grow my business efficiently? And so I'm not killing money out the back door.
Yep. So we just announced the news a couple of months ago that we acquired a company called Inventuro. And Inventuro is an AI machine learning platform that focuses on inventory efficiency, inventory forecasting, and we see the algorithms that they have built in that platform. And there's over 100 different ones. They have different AI algorithms, they have different machine learning algorithms, and then a lot of statistical modeling that they use. And in the combination of that, we see how we can bring artificial intelligence to the different modules within our product. And so when you ask like, hey, what do we see and where this goes? So regardless of, what you're doing, what products you're selling, how you're selling, in a lot of ways, the next 4 things I'm going to bring up, it's how I think about how we're doing our sales process, right? We want AI to create 4 different lanes for us. One, we want it to create efficiency, right? So how do we think about the repetitive tasks that, save time, save resources, so we're not doing let it handle the routine activities so that we can focus our talented team on more experience, right? They're going to bring a better experience. So good examples like, how do we create more efficiency? You've seen chatbots managing customer inquiries and how that routes customer inquiries, right? You've seen that on websites. You see that throughout customers use software. decision making, right? So how is it going to do better data driven insights, right? How do I get better? The idea that we talk about all the time at Sin7 is like, it used to be about data collection. Like, am I data driven? Well, I got all this data. Great. But it's really now about data curation. What data is important and how can I make that data actionable? And a lot of times these are massive, large data sets. So I need to pick out the things in that data set that's going to tell me what I need to do. Right. And so how do we use AI analytics to do that? So the next one is really innovation, right? How do I leverage the AI to let me know, like, what new products do our customers need? How do we think that, how does this help drive the development of our solutions forward, right? Where are our customers using? And sometimes this is like, this is not just structured data about how they're using the product, but we have a whole bunch of calls that we're having with our customers, whether it be on our sales process, and we taking the call recordings from those recordings and the insights to understand, like, where should we potentially take the product. And then also, you see a lot of folks using this as like targeted sales and marketing, right? And so how do we do more targeting campaigns, analyze customer data to create more relevant content, right? Better insights into how your customers are behaving, and email marketing. And you see the big platforms doing this all the time, like Salesforce, Einstein, HubSpot. Like, you're talking about how we segment customers. So when we think about, like, how do we create more efficiency, it's really those four lanes. And we think about our customers, it's, if we can create efficiency so that we can save them time not doing redundant things, if we can give them better decision making, so we can say, hey, if you order more of this, you're going to be overstocked. And overstocked, you're not going to be able to sell it. It's going to end up being dead stock, and it's going to put strain on your capital. And how do we think about innovation in sales and marketing so we can reach more clients where they are, when they are, and then build a better product moving forward?
I think that's great. Let's see if we can wrap it up, because this is an interesting, tough conversation to have for a lot of people here to understand it. As I'm building out my team as a company, the mid-sized tier, your target market, the mid-tier market, the last thing I have is time. It's the least. As a matter of fact, today I'm CEO of 3 organizations, 2 for-profit and 1 non-for-profit. If you ask me how much free time I had, I'm not sure if I can give you even an hour. That I'm at the gym at 4:45 because it's the only time I get. And I know a lot of CEOs are just like me. So if we're talking about time and value and time management, how do you help me do what I have to do in respect to value and time?
Yeah, it's a great question. So if you go back to that idea of the inventory efficiency, we believe it's an epidemic of inventory inefficiency out there. If there's $1 billion of lost inventory yearly, right? If we see the high overstock numbers, that means folks' inventory aren't running correctly. So what is that? What are the actual impacts inside the business? That time, it's actually a few things. It's one, it's like manual overload. You're going to have endless audit, data reconciliation, spreadsheet hell, we call it. Like, you multiple spreadsheets that you're trying to recognize across. You're doing cash flow waste, low margin products, high operating costs, sales inefficiency. How do you? It's not just, do you have the right product market fit? Are you in the right market selling the right products? And so if you're inefficient and you're not learning that stuff, that can really cost you a lot. Error rates is huge, right? I think the stat becomes 63% of inventory inaccuracy comes from error rates, right? So that's a big number. And so you're talking about lost inventory at that point, erroneous shipments, and if your head's calculating this stuff, it's like, okay, how am I chasing all this stuff, right? Erroneous shipments. What we've all been, something gets shipped to the wrong place. Like, what are you doing? Okay, I go find it. Like, it's like, and then as you scale, this only just gets more and more and more complex, and that time strain becomes more and more challenging. So we see it as an epidemic of inventory inefficiency. And when you're doing this, you're wasting time, you're wasting money, and you're wasting your product, which stalls and kills your growth, right? And so you have this idea. Well, we have this idea within us, within our product we call inventory flow, right? And so the way we think about that is, if you can remove the inefficiency between, like, how you store things, where you sell them, where you ship them, how you settle up, where you report, and then where you source and restock. All those different gaps are going to have inefficiency within them. If we can help customers remove inefficiency throughout those processes and get rid of everything I just described, all the manual stuff, all the error rates, all the cash flow waste, all the low visibility, then all of a sudden growth feels easier, right? You're not wasting time, money, and energy. You're actually spending that time, money, and energy in the right place. And that helps you grow your business.
Well, this has been great, Frank. How do people reach Sin7 and how do they reach you?
So sin7.com, you can always reach out there. We have a chatbot on the website. It's a really cool AI chatbot we just installed. Really like it. But it'll help you get to the right place, right? And that's the coolest part. Like if you want to talk to a salesperson, you want to talk to someone in marketing, you want to talk to me. But also you can reach me at on LinkedIn, Frank Nardi on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to, just shoot me something in the DM, and I'm always happy to chat and talk inventory efficiency, talk AI, talk about sales, marketing, CS. I'm always excited for those conversations.
Frank, I want to make sure at 2 a.m, you're not actually thinking about inventory and management in the middle of the night, right?
Depends. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes.
Well, this has been fascinating. We've been talking with Frank Nardi of Sin7, and we've been talking about how AI fits in inventory management. Inventory management means efficient logistics. And if you're somebody like me, who's CEO of major organizations, time is your friend and time is your enemy and your challenging resource. And if you can get that part of it automated and simple and easy and regenerative and intuitive, that's what Sin7 and Frank is all about. So, Frank, thanks for being part of it this morning.
Oh, thanks so much, Elliot. Thanks for having me on.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode of Meet the Expert with Elliot Callan. So today we talk with Frank Nardi of Sin7 Company. They're a logistics company that specializes in artificial intelligence and helping to make your business more efficient in all the logistics, which means pulling inventory, buying inventory, getting out the door just in time, whatever's needed. And they are experts with the artificial intelligence and the chatbots, making them efficient. So very interesting idea, a niche market for people that have need for that. But if you're a mid-sized market and inventory is a challenge for you, Sin7 and Frank Nardi are probably people that can help you quite a bit.